The stage lights burned fiercely, casting harsh shadows that only amplified the intense energy of the room. The crowd, a sea of expectant faces, seemed to buzz with an almost palpable hunger. Their eyes locked on us, as if we were the spectacle of the night. Beside me, Laura sat on the plush red couch, her posture flawless, her smile perfectly curated. Nothing more than a mask to hide the venom that dripped from her every word. "Tell everyone why you're a loser, David," she sneered, her voice heavy with mockery. The audience erupted in laughter, each chuckle an added weight to the cruelty she so effortlessly delivered. I clenched my fist beneath the armrest, forcing myself to appear unaffected. It wasn't the first time she had humiliated me, and I had expected nothing less. After all, Laura had always thrived in front of an audience, feeding off the validation that came with belittling others. The host, a slick man in a tailored suit, leaned in with a grin that bordered on gleeful. "So Laura tells us you've lost your job," he said, his voice dripping with a false concern. "You're struggling. How does that feel?" Laughter followed, cruel and dismissive. Even the cameraman shared a smirk. I exhaled slowly, keeping my pulse steady. They thought I was cornered. They thought I was weak. But they didn't know me. I reached into my pocket, fingers brushing against the cold screen of my phone, and pulled it out. The screen lit up, the glow casting a faint reflection on my face. I looked around at the audience, all eyes on me now. My voice was calm, deliberate. "Actually," I began, my tone cutting through the laughter, "let me show you all something." The room fell silent, the tension thickening. Laura's smile faltered for the briefest moment, just a flicker of fear before she quickly masked it again. I tapped the screen, and the images of our past appeared before us all. "I loved Laura once," I said, my voice steady, "with everything I had." The crowd leaned in, intrigued by the shift in my tone. "We met 10 years ago," I continued, me, a rising tech entrepreneur, and her a beautiful, ambitious PR executive. She was magnetic, effortlessly charming. We were perfect together. But beneath the smiles, beneath the laughter, there were cracks. Subtle at first. The audience waited, hanging on my every word. She didn't like when I disagreed with her. I went on. Didn't like when I succeeded without her. When my company took off, she started belittling my work, trying to tear down the very thing I had built. And when I struggled, when everything fell apart after a corporate betrayal, she didn't offer me support. She saw it as an opportunity to destroy me. The silence in the room deepened, the air growing thick with anticipation. I could see it in their eyes now. They were wondering where this was going, where I would take them next. "I overheard her one night," I said, pausing for effect, "on the phone with her lover. She said, 'He's pathetic now.' A joke. But don't worry, I have a plan. When I'm done, everyone will see him for what he really is." The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. That was the moment I stopped loving her. I confessed, the weight of those words sinking in. But I didn't react. That would have been too easy for her. No, I smiled. I played the broken husband, the fool. And I waited. The crowd was now utterly silent, waiting for what I would say next. Laura believed I was too weak to fight back. I said softly, the truth of it clear in my voice. She thought I was drowning in my failures. What she didn't know was that I had been watching her, every step she took. She didn't know that I had every message, every email, every call recorded. She didn't know I knew about the money she siphoned from my accounts, or the lies she fed the media, twisting my downfall into a public spectacle. I took a moment, letting the gravity of my words settle. She certainly didn't know that I had spent the last 6 months preparing for this moment. I played my role perfectly, pretending to be the weak, broken man she thought she had defeated. The audience was now on the edge of their seats, captivated by the turn in the story. So, when she pitched the idea of coming on this live talk show to tell our story, I continued. I knew exactly what I was doing. I could see the realization dawning on Laura's face, the horror slowly creeping in. The laughter from earlier had faded, replaced by a tense stillness. I had waited for this moment, planned for it. And now, finally, I was ready to expose the truth. I agreed without a moment's hesitation. Laura thought I would crumble, that I would beg for mercy while she basked in the attention, but I had something far better planned. As the silence stretched across the stage, A calm settled over me. I pressed play. The screen behind us flickered to life, and Laura's voice filled the room, sharp, venomous. God, he's so pathetic, she sneered. But hey, at least my misery's making me famous. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. The host's grin faltered, his expression shifting from smug amusement to something darker. Laura's skin drained of color. No, this is fake, she stammered, her voice trembling with disbelief. But the video kept playing, undeniable and damning. It wasn't just Laura now. Her lover's voice filled the air, cold and calculating. Once the money transfers are done, I'll file for divorce. You won't see a penny. Murmurs swept through the crowd, their discomfort thickening the air. This isn't entertainment anymore, someone whispered, the tone tinged with unease. Then one final recording, Laura's voice, dripping with disdain. I just need to humiliate him publicly one last time. Make sure everyone knows he's worthless. The room fell into absolute silence. Laura's eyes locked with mine, and for the first time, I saw panic. She turned to me, desperation flooding her face. Turn it off, she shrieked, her voice cracking. But the damage was done. The host, now visibly shaken, turned toward me. Is this real? He asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. I met Laura's gaze, my voice as cold and steady as ice. You tell me, I said, every word cutting through the tension like a blade. Before she could react, she lunged for my phone. But I was faster. I stood up, my presence towering over her, as the weight of what she had done settled between us. I trusted you, I said, my voice devoid of emotion. I loved you, and you tried to destroy me. Her breath hitched, her eyes darting desperately around the room, seeking support. But there was no laughter now, no sympathy from the audience, just cold, judgmental stares. The security guards began to move toward the stage, but I wasn't finished. You stole from me, I said, turning to the host. She siphoned nearly $500,000 from my accounts. Would you like to see the bank statements? I pulled up another file, the numbers glaring on the screen. Undeniable, irrefutable. The host's expression darkened, his usual veneer of confidence cracking. Behind the cameras, the network executives murmured amongst themselves. Laura's breath came in sharp, shallow gasps. David, please, she begged, her voice faltering. You wanted a show, I said, stepping back and watching her unravel. Enjoy the spotlight. Security moved swiftly, escorting Laura off the stage. The audience remained frozen in stunned silence, the weight of what had just transpired settling over them. I exhaled deeply, feeling the burden lift off my shoulders. The host, struggling to salvage the situation, cleared his throat. Well, I think we all just witnessed something historic. He smiled weakly, but it was a poor attempt to mask the unease that had gripped the room. I smiled, the first genuine smile I had worn in months. It wasn't a smile of victory, but one of justice. The show cut to an emergency commercial break, and within minutes, social media exploded. Laura exposed trended worldwide. By the time I walked out of the studio, her sponsors had already dropped her, and her career, like the fragile empire she had built on lies, had come crashing down. As for me, I walked into the night free, not broken, not defeated, victorious. Some people crave the spotlight, but when the truth shines through, there's nowhere left to hide.